It's a strange experience, learning how to build a home in a place that you're not from. Growing up, home wasn't really a word that held much meaning to me. It was where I lived, which was always changing, and for the most part, it was in Gainesville with my sister.
I think growing up in Gainesville felt strange. I've always understood like being from a place as like having roots in a place and having community in a place and having like a depth of history and relationship to a place. And so when we moved down there, it felt as though we were actually moving away from the place where we had relationships and where we had history and where we had family and community. I found myself out here. I think a really huge part of my first impression of the place had to do with the fact that we drove across the country to get here. Um, and so we only arrived at Berkeley after seeing like a massive amount of like the rest of the United States. By the time we completed that like cross country road trip, it felt like some kind of utopia or like safe haven.
When I moved here, a year after my sister did, I didn't really know how to settle into a place. I can pack a suitcase in 10 minutes, but unpacking tends to take me a few more months. I think for both me and my sister, it took finding a community to learn how to be at home.
These are people who understand so many different parts of like what I believe and who I am and the way that I want to show up in the world and like what I hope for in the future. Like, oh, if I'm like asking people to show up for me, like these are the people that I want to be there. Or like, oh, if I like I'm having this experience and I want to share it, like these are the people that I want to be there. And just kind of having the realization that each and every one of us feel that way about each other. I just had this thought that I don't know where I'm going to be, but like if we decided to like be somewhere together or do something together, like I would plan everything around it.
Even though I don't live with my sister anymore, it feels really special to have family close by. I get to have herbs and vegetables dropped off from the garden, or like have family dinners on birthdays.
Growing up, the way that I experienced family was we would only see them in like rare occasions. It was always in the context of like an event or like a special gathering. And I think there's still a lot of value in like special gatherings and coming together in an intentional way. But I also just feel like the practice of like coming back home to each other every single week, every single day, however often, with that level of like ritual feels just feels so important and feels like something that has deeply been like missing.
Home is a hard thing to define. I think home is about being comfortable. It's a warm kitchen, or having friends over and hearing the laughter from the next room, and it's getting to borrow a jacket when it's cold outside.
For me, it's been really related to just the feeling of a place to rest, a place to put things down. And I mean that like spiritually, but I also mean it like very materially too. I don't know why, but that's the way that I've been thinking about it. Your shoes are next to my shoes and like my books are next to your books. The thought of like having all of our things together feels like a really big part of home for me. So yeah, a place to put things down. I think home is deeply grounded in place, and I know that you can find home in people and like ritual and in routine and in your body even. Yeah, I think that like geography is important. Although also like the place is not the place without the people.
When I think about home for me now versus when I was younger, I think the main difference is that I actually look forward to coming home. It's somewhere that I choose to return to every day, and that feels really special.
Yeah, I never felt like I was coming home when I would go back to Gainesville. I'd be like, we're going back to Gainesville. And I remember even being really intentional about like the language that I would use around it. Because I'm like, home is a big ass word. And I'm a fucking tourist. You know what I mean? Like, I don't play about home. So, like, when I say home, I'm going to mean it. When I come back to this place, I always feel like I'm coming home.